Okay.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Sam's here again.
I'm scared.
Back in the bed
Back in
with the
bed.
boys.
We're on my bed again. We seem to flourish talking in each other's beds.
Yeah.
Haven't been to Sam's bed yet, but
No, it's not very big.
no. Yeah, again, like
And
myself.
I'd feel really uncomfortable, out of place. two lovebirds and me.
Well,
Anyway, this is not. This may be turn into a therapy session, but not yet.
hopefully.
What are we talking about today, Sean?
We're talking about our childhood fears revolving around TV and movies. So anything that gave us nightmares or still creeps us out to this day. This is all kind of vivid memories, of course, because I can only think of one particular scene. For some of these, I can't really remember, most of
Yeah. So
95% of the film.
Yeah.
So you told us to put together a list of films
Just-
that frightened us,
Just scenes,
And-
things that popped up.
and so we're gonna have a therapy session and try and uncover why
Why?
it frightened us and try and get past it.
Yeah.
So
Get
we can
past
become
it.
adjusted adults.
Why
in
did
society.
why did it make us scared?
Yeah.
We can go into how the lighting or like the score.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the elements, and try and break it down so it's
And-
not so scary.
If we've seen it in the last 2 years, does it still live up to that
Yeah.
fear?
Most of mine I haven't rewatched, I'll admit, but they still
Yeah,
frighten.
me
Like the
neither.
thought of them still frightens me.
Mm.
A few of them I have re-seen, but yeah, let's. And what we'll do as well is we're going to put up like links to the photos and videos if we
Yeah.
can find them,
Yeah.
and see if people remember.
Yeah.
People can suggest their own, and we might do
Bring
a
a bit
follow
of
up,
fear into the
maybe a
fans.
follow up session soon, in a year or
Yeah.
so. See if we've if our therapy is worked.
Well, you're
Overcome.
the psychologist.
Well,
so.
not yet.
All right.
it's a
Well,
long
who would
process.
like to start? Because we've all got a list each.
I've got a classic one. I've got a
Go
classic
for it.
one we could
Do you
start.
want to do one each? Just go around the board.
Yeah, well, we'll see how we go. Maybe it'll just it'll remind us of other ones,
Ah,
Yeah,
Go with the flow.
yeah, and we'll see if we've got the same, if our lists have doubled up or anything. So my first one's Toy Story, one of the first films that we probably ever watched as kids, 1995.
okay.
I don't think I ever watched it. I can't remember if I watched it in the cinema because we all would have been like 3 or 4. So I don't think I watched it in the cinema. But it's a scene with Sid where he's like cutting up the toys and putting them together.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And
All the
That's pretty
yeah, the
creepy.
mutant toys. Like at that age, that movie showed. I think why it was one of the biggest, why it launched Pixar is because everyone had that thought of what if your toys are alive?
Yeah.
And then there's this psychopathic kid who's
Terrifying.
cutting up the toys. And remember when he puts the one in the
that.
vice? And because my granddad had a vice, and I remember in his garage, if I ever went in and saw the vice, it would just make me shiver because I'm
Yeah.
I could put my toy in there and cut its head
I
off and
remember-
stuff.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I remember when
Yeah,
Woody's
that
under
is
the.
creepy.
He's like, "Come on, little fella." He's got the torch,
Yeah.
and it's the baby head. And
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
baby
come on,
with
little
the
fella.
spider.
That's exactly the scene I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing was as well is that whole scene where they go into Sid's house and the
Yeah.
floor, which is now did you know that the floor is the same floor in The Shining hotel? That was
Really?
it was a direct reference because people actually noticed it and they put it together.
Yeah.
And then Pixar confirmed we made
Yeah.
it like a
Yeah.
creepy haunted house.
Well, the dog
that's
was
cool.
scary as well.
The dog where it chases after them. That's it's like a
It's
bulldog,
really
and that made me
vicious.
scared of bulldogs too.
Yeah.
Because I'm look what it can do to a toy.
Because when you're at that age as well, dogs are
Yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah,
Like they're actually on your level.
yeah.
Just seeing it in front of you.
I know. It gave... Well, that's the thing with Toy Story. It gave everyone a whole new perspective on the world. With filmmaking, what can be done. Seeing the world from the toys' point of view.
Yeah.
But just going into that creepy house and those, mutant toys.
Yeah.
And although someone pointed out that, the toys don't come alive till the end of the movie. When Woody's head turns around.
Yeah.
And what does he say? I can't remember what he says to him. He's
"Reach
so
for
play
us."
nice. No, when
Oh,
Woody
yeah,
actually
so
talks to him.
Play.
Before that, he didn't know the toys could move. So people are saying, he got a bad rap. Sid was he didn't know that he was actually harming
Yeah.
toys. He just thought he was playing with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
He was like a lonely
yeah.
kid with neglectful parents just
Yeah.
playing
Oh,
with toys.
There's a darker meaning.
Yeah, but there was a particular shot in Toy Story that it wasn't even that scene, but it's when they're climbing over to Sid's house, and they get the Christmas lights. He throws them over the Christmas lights, and then he tries to climb along, but Buzz doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
There's just this one shot of the Christmas lights going from Sid's house to the Toy Story house. It just gives me this creepiest feeling.
I remember that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get a picture
The
of it. Do you
wide
want to
shot.
talk about yours, and I'll try and bring up the picture of that.
All
shot.
right. Oh, well, my first
And
one.
we'll link the picture
What are you
too.
laughing at?
You just said that so aggressively.
All right. God, tell me what to do.
Well, do you want Sam to go? Do you want ladies first, or do you want to go clockwise? People can't see what direction.
let the guest talk. I'll sit in the background.
God.
Go for it.
Well, the one that I remember the most was, I don't think you guys have seen it, but it was called Mr. Boogedy, and it was 45 minutes long, so it was a Disney movie, and we had it on this VHS, and it was 1986, so I wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
I was born in 89, so I watched it like a while after, so it was like this grainy VHS tape, and the music and everything just like the whole movie creeped me out. There was no one scene.
We watched it on YouTube, I remember.
Did we watch
a
the
while
whole
ago?
thing?
No.
No.
Because it hasn't aged well.
No, it hasn't.
It looks like something from around the twist.
And the parents were really like, they didn't care. Like they just kept on pranking the kids all the time. They were like pretty horrible parents.
What was Mr. Boogedy about?
I always said Mr. Boogedy when I was little, but they move into this new house, and the real estate guy, it didn't really have a storyline. It was kind of like the house was haunted, pretty much.
Okay.
Like poltergeist-ish.
But
Mr. Boogedy.
Except it was Mr. Boogedy.
It has just John Aston in it.
I'll show you guys. I'll just show you guys the shots of the Toy Story, and then I'll look at Mr. Boogedy so we can have a look at that. So that's the shots there, like the house. You know when they're going between the houses in Toy Story.
Because it's so quiet.
Yeah,
and it's just creepy. So I'll look up Mr. Boogedy now, and we'll link all this stuff in.
It's unsettling.
Yeah. So what? So Mr. Boogedy.
Yeah. So it was a
How do you
kids
spell that?
Like
Boogedy. Like
Boogie
Boogedy.
Man.
Boogedy.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it looks like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah, a direct reference.
Yeah.
And it was a Disney film, but it was made for TV, so it wasn't like, it didn't come out in cinemas or anything.
Low budget. Is this from that? Is that from the film? That lady there.
Yeah. So
she's got like wearing.
the
Okay,
parents,
that's creepy.
The parents are like really into.
Is that the parents?
Pranks? Yeah.
Okay.
And they have all these. What are they? Like a snake in a can and stuff like that.
Really,
I remember that actually.
Yeah.
I think our library had a copy.
Oh,
in
really?
primary school. I remember.
Really?
I think this is coming back to me. We
Snake
used
in
to.
a cans.
No, like they use that kind of stuff.
Like really basic whoopee cushions and
Practical jokers. They were practical jokers. Yeah. And then this guy,
Sounds really
John
frustrating.
Aston, is Mr. Boogedy.
John Aston.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And I don't know. It just freaked me
But
out.
how is Mr. Boogedy a threat? What would he do to the kids? Did he touch them or?
No, it was just. It's a kids' movie.
What would he do though? What's like? What's scary?
I just remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember there being like at the very end, like this, like vacuum cleaner that like he would like manipulate, and you have to see it. It's 45 minutes long. It's not that long. You can watch
Yeah, so
it.
it's like a
we
TV
can,
movie.
We can
Mr.
watch
Boogedy.
it another day.
This is coming back to
Giant-
me when you say vacuum cleaner. Yeah, maybe this is a memory I've repressed.
And the daughter is walking down the corridor of the house, and there's like a green light coming from behind the door.
Is that a shot from it?
No.
No. Okay, that might just be.
Well, what was the
a real
vacuum's
murder.
name? Did the vacuum have a name?
No.
Is that him using force lightning? Like
Yeah,
actually,
he
Palpatine.
used
He's got like this glow.
magic, like almost, but
Yeah.
it's
It's the same
I just
effect
remembered
as the
another
Star
one.
Wars lightning.
Because you know what? That reminds me of The Simpsons with Mr. Burns glowing. Oh, Sean's just had an insight. Look at that.
No. Oh, look. No, Simpsons and X-Files. Okay, that matches up together. We'll get to that.
Oh.
We'll get to that.
you have a running theme.
So what frightened?
Aliens.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we need to like.
Something
We're
popped in
trying
my
to.
brain.
I think we're like starting to uncover.
I'm
This
gonna have
is
an aneurysm.
good. But so Sam, so what frightened you about that though? Like, was it just the whole tone of the thing, or was it
the
just
music and the tone. The tone was a huge thing. Like there was like this weird ominous thing, and the parents didn't care, and it was
horrifying.
freaky. But for me, like anything supernatural always scared me the most. So
Okay.
that's probably where it came from.
all right?
Just to keep on the checklist, I just want to go back to your Toy Story.
Yeah.
Rewatching it nowadays, does it still creep you out? Or
It's just that one shot. I'll try and find because I showed you just.
I remember the wide shot of them. They throw the line.
Yeah, well, they throw the line, but there's this really wide shot, and the window's really small, and the house is big, and it's just the angle, and Buzz doesn't want to go, and that's when they throw when Woody's like he's lost all hope, and they throw the cord away, and it's like his friends just completely abandoned him.
When the cord drops, I remember that really.
Yeah,
being really
it's a
sad.
shot just before that because they're like, "Come on, Woody, are you coming across or what?" And then he's like, "Buzz, do you want to come?" And Buzz is like,
He's got the hand. He's like,
yes,
oh,
that's right. Yeah, you just and he pulls the hand
good old
away,
pal, and he goes like this,
and it's the
like,
hand. Yeah,
traitor. And he goes,
yeah. Oh, that's yes. I'd forgotten that whole shot, but yeah, it's just that whole scene gives me something really creepy.
It's so dark.
Really creepy.
Like
feeling.
they think that he's ripped his arm off.
Yeah,
and they just let go.
Him. Yeah,
they don't let Woody.
Yeah,
defend himself at all.
And I think it's just that. I think maybe it's the fear of abandonment. Like the friends. That's when they throw the line, and it's like that's it. All hope is lost. And Buzz isn't really dead either. Like he's just there having an existential crisis. Because that's when he's like he realizes he's not a toy. That's just after the scene where he falls down.
It's amazing when he becomes that girl. Yeah. Like he's having tea.
Yeah, Mrs. Nesbitt. That's such a
Nesbitt.
I am Mrs. Nesbitt. Whatever happened to Tim Allen? Anyway,
well,
Last Man Standing. Good show. I think the last time I can't remember the last time I watched Toy Story. It's probably around 2010. Okay. Because I remember rewatching it before Toy Story 3.
Did it still have that same?
It still gave me that weird. It's just that kind of feeling of like it went back to my childhood, like to see it when I first saw it, and it was creepy.
Well, you definitely need help.
Thanks, man.
Give it a watch.
Well, I might be able to give therapy on myself when
give it a watch this year. And come back to us.
Well, I think we're going to do a Toy Story app at some point. We're revisiting Pixar.
Because with Toy Story 4 on the way, we have to.
Toy Story 4. We'll do a Toy Story app.
Sam,
so Sean, you missed the boogie. Yeah.
Just going. So Boogity. When we watched it on YouTube last year,
so you've watched it recently.
Just a bit of it, yeah. No, it did.
It's still creepy.
It still creeped you out?
Because I don't know. I think when you watch it, like you do go back to when you first saw it and how it made you feel.
Yeah.
And it does still creep me out a lot.
Probably the quality as well.
The quality definitely.
As in like the bad
classic VHS,
that adds to it.
The crackles and the lines that used to come down.
Yeah.
Maybe if it came out in like 4K, I might be okay.
4K Boogity.
4K takes the horror out of everything. Or if Neil Breen remakes it.
Oh god.
Neil Breen. We haven't even.
Neil Breen was Mr. Boogity.
Wow.
So, my first one is from the movie Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic sci-fi film.
Sequel to Aliens.
Directed by James Cameron.
I want to mention as well, most of mine are sequels as well. It's like the sequel makes something creepy about, except for Toy Story.
Most of
Toy Story 2 was kind
TV
of creepy,
shows.
Oh yeah, I've got a sequel.
Yeah. Because it's like the sequel, they kind of like change the tone. But anyway, so go with yours. Aliens, what creeped you out?
So the one scene that I remember, this is alright, so the story goes...
I haven't seen it, so I'm going to look this up as you talk.
You haven't seen Aliens?
No.
Here we go. Here we go.
We got to do an Aliens. We're doing our Aliens episode next week, sure. Or whenever it comes out. When does it come out? May?
May 20th.
Well, people look forward to that.
Catch up.
God.
Anyway, go on, keep talking.
Alright, so the situation is, I was in my lounge room, 10:30 at night. Mum made me... Whoa. The PS4 just turned on by
Your
itself.
PlayStation just came to life. Wow.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
Okay, so what is it about it though? Like the aliens? I'm just having a look at the poster. Because I've seen the original Alien. And a lot of people say Aliens is better than the original.
It's a real... Like, they're in their own right, they're both really good films.
Yeah.
But Aliens is more action sci-fi, where the first Alien is more horror sci-fi.
Yeah.
First Alien doesn't have a lot of action, while James Cameron took
suspense,
it into the next genre, while keeping it sort of like the first one, but obviously it's different tones, but no, it was a great follow-up though.
Was it a scene or was it the whole
film? What was
it? Scene. So I remember sitting in my lounge room, it was 10:30 at night, Mum let me stay up and watch this film. I was eating Cocoa Puffs. And there's a scene where they ask for a pickup from their shuttle that's landed on this planet, and there's two people in the spaceship. So the pilot's getting all set up, and she starts flying off, and she calls out to her assistant or co-pilot, and we hear her. She's like yelling his name, and she turns around, and the alien is right there, and does that typical and there's like the little snipper thing in its mouth. And I remember she gets attacked, and there's a shot from outside the spaceship, and this blood splatters. As a kid, I remember it being like if you put liquid into a fan,
Yeah.
and it just went
Yeah.
like all over the window,
Ooh.
and I
Yeah.
was so sick, and I couldn't eat my Cocoa Puffs,
Oh.
and I actually couldn't. I could not sleep. That I felt physically ill. Like,
Oh.
So was that like
really?
the blood, like the horror,
was-
the blood horror of it?
it was just how the blood effect came out.
Yeah.
Like
So it was just the
fan
shock of it.
blood.
Yeah.
But then I watched it again a few years ago. That one scene.
Yeah.
And wasn't as much blood as I remember. It was just a bit of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bit of
it's
spray.
your childhood
I was like,
exaggerated.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that wasn't.
Your little brain.
That wasn't that bad. Like, and
And
now
you've seen a lot of horror films since like
being
between.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like Hostel and Saw.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Bit of blood. I think that might have been the first real life blood
Yeah.
that I'd seen.
Mm.
And Aliens altogether is a terrifying film.
Yeah.
Once you guys watch it, it's. Whew, it's very
Yeah.
scary.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll
but
have to watch that.
It's different when you're like scared of aliens, whereas I am not scared of aliens.
My whole list is aliens.
All right,
terrible.
well, we'll get to that. So my next one is Freaky Stories, which you remember it was like a kid show on ABC, and it would be the one that go like, this was a story that happened to a friend of mine,
Yeah.
and then it goes in and it's like animated, and it gives you, it always just tells you this creepy story.
Was it animated like Wallace and Gromit?
No,
animation,
not
or-
stop motion. No, it was like I'll get a screenshot of it, but basically
It wasn't
Sounds
cartoon,
really-
though,
It
was
was.
it?
It was a cartoon. Yeah, it was just a cartoon, and it was always on at the end. You know how ABC was like straight after school till about like 5 or 6
Yeah.
o'clock. It was always right at the end,
Oh, the
just before the news.
5:55?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh,
and it would. It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
more than 5 minutes, but yeah, it was like
Yeah.
right at the end of the time
I
slot.
love that.
And what it was just it was like a series of like like there's typical. See, there's the poster for it. The poster, and it had that kind of
Yeah.
animation.
Oh,
That kind of cartoonish animation.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
basic. But there was one, I'll tell you one that I remembered that came to me, and it was like a terrifying one, and it was about like a scuba diver that got found in a tree. He was hanging in the desert and he was dead. And like it went through this whole mystery of like what happened, and it turns out it was just like the plane, like a helicopter was putting out a fire in the desert, and it picked up the guy from like the ocean and dropped the water on the thing. Yeah, this is like a kid's story.
That's
That's
creepy.
really terrifying.
But it's just
Like
the way
dark.
I want to. I really want to see if I can find that if it's on YouTube, that particular episode, because it's just the mix of the narration. You had that really like creepy voice, and it's just that, and it was dark, and like it's just this horrible story about a guy dying because they thought the guy killed himself, like he was hanging from the tree.
Yeah.
And it's like this is like what they're teaching
That's
kids.
so
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of like what you
Yeah.
would see on like CSI, like early seasons
Yeah,
of CSI,
yeah,
where
it
it's
was.
a mystery.
It was
and
like
they try and
it was like a
figure
Law
it
and
out.
Order, like CS
Yeah.
crime scene
Yeah.
episode, and that's what the stories were. It was
Creepy.
just these creepy stories, and I always remember because do you not remember the thing where it's like this was a story? It happened to a friend of
I
mine.
remember that.
I
Yeah.
remember. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Well, I
how
had a
it
theory. I
goes.
remember telling. I can't remember who I told, but if a friend of yours is you, if you're saying that, because a friend of a friend could be you.
yours. Oh.
So I thought it might have been a roundabout way of saying like it happened to me,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's so
That's
creepy.
deep. That's
So it's like
deep.
the dead guy telling the story of how he
Yeah.
died.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
So
find
deep.
it. But yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's so complex and dark
Yeah.
for kids.
I remember why that one frightened me, because it's literally they thought this scuba diver killed himself and they didn't know how he was in the desert.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
mystery. Because I think there was like fish flopping around or something as well. Like it was just weird.
That's so weird.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Getting dark. All right,
Yeah.
Sam.
I've got which one? Well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a pretty obvious
Oh,
one.
I had that.
The original.
You mean, fun fact, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory
Oh,
was the
Willy
name of the
Wonka.
movie.
Yeah.
Charlie was the name of the book. I wrote
That-
down Charlie and then I had to
That's
change it
probably
when
why,
I tried
because
to
I was
Wikipedia.
trying to find
Yeah.
the year it was made, and I was putting
Yeah.
in Charlie and the Chocolate
Yeah,
Factory.
I put in Charlie too in the Willy Wonka, yeah. So the
Yeah.
Gene Wilder one, the boat
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, boat scene.
We can put that one up.
The
That's
bugs.
creepy.
There was like a head, chicken getting its head cut
Yeah,
off,
the chicken.
Yeah.
That's what
which was
freaked
so
me.
strange.
And just
Yeah.
and how his Gene Wilder's acting, just like he starts screaming the
Yeah.
lyrics. Which way it's
Yeah.
going?
Ugh.
Da-da-da.
Gives me the
Yeah.
shivers.
And he starts yelling. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going so fast.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
and
it
then
gets
colors,
faster
the
and
psychedelic.
faster.
Yeah,
And when they get they're drinking that stuff, and they go up, and there's the fan, the ceiling fan. That freaks me out too,
yeah.
because
Oh,
they
they
were
could
like
cut, yeah,
freaking
yeah.
out because
And they couldn't
gonna
grab
get,
onto anything.
Yeah, and then they found
Yeah.
out they burped and they could get.
they could go
back
down.
down.
That was a creepy movie.
Yeah.
Well, there's a theory that you know how like on the boat there was the exact number of seats for the people, So there's a theory that Willy Wonka knew the kids were going to die one by one, and he planned it all out.
Oh wow!
Because there was no empty seats on the boat, so the people who had gone before that, were they just going to have to stand or something?
Well, Augustus was like.
He fell in the river just before that. Yeah. Yeah. And then Verona. And then, I want it now.
Yeah, the bad egg.
And the blueberry girl. Yeah, that was a creepy movie.
Yeah.
And let's not talk about the Johnny Depp one.
No.
That's scary in its own right. It's a different kind of scary.
Yeah.
Have you watched the movie since?
No, I haven't. But I think it would still creep me out. Even the Oompa Loompas were freaky.
Yeah. I think they didn't really talk or
and he saved them from Africa, so they're actually slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he find them on an island or something?
Yeah, no, I think he found them from Africa, and they were like working in mines or something, and he came and brought them to his factory. So it was something. It was like a slave analogy.
Children.
Yeah, it was like this slave analogy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was the 70s, so.
Yeah, of course, it's perfectly fine.
Different times.
Different times.
How do you think Trump built his towers? Anyway?
Done with blunders. My next one would be, this one's quick. This is, actually no, I've got a few from the Goosebumps TV show. Just going to say, the opening with the dog. You remember how it's got? The whole opening of Goosebumps is amazing. The piano at the start.
Go back to our childhood.
Briefcase opens.
Yeah.
Paper flies into town, and that G. It goes past the lady and she turns into like a Michael Jackson.
Oh. Yeah,
and the dog goes roo, 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 roo. And it's got like bug eyes. That's still it's.
I like the guy with the briefcase. He freaked me out because he was all mysterious. And...
it's mentally scarred. Whoever directed that opening.
Yeah, and now it's on Netflix too. Yeah, have you watched it recently?
Yes, I did, and the opening still. It doesn't freak me out like, oh my god, it's still, but it still disturbs me because it's just so, because it's just a nice little dog and it just, there's yellow eyes. Just there was a few episodes of Goosebumps that really freaked me out. The Scarecrow one. On the farm was freaky.
Oh yeah, that one was.
There's
creepy.
one scene where they're in the kids are lying in it because the kids go to their grandpa's farm.
Yeah.
And at night they all walk around and I remember there's being a shadow of the scarecrow walking past the house, and that was just terrifying.
Yeah.
Anything to do with crops and farms just is disgusting.
Yeah.
And there was a second one where I don't remember. They were in a forest and it was filled with mud. It was filled with mud. It was like grey and mud, and they're looking.
Oh, the mud monster.
They can see a mud monster by a tree, and they're yelling. They go, "Hey!" and it turns around, and they start running. Yeah. And I think it's scary because I only saw that part of the episode. And that's it. And I was like, I got too scared. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, you just freaked.
And it's one of those mystery apps where you're like, I'm never going to remember.
Yeah.
I was afraid of Night of the Living Dummy.
That was freaky.
The dummies are always creepy because it's always got that. He's got a bit of a Mr. Bean, Pee Wee Herman look.
Yeah.
But it's terrifying.
The mask as well. When she puts on the mask and she can't get it off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the weird what's that? It had the mask that followed her in the night. They had a ghostly effect. It was there'd be a trail after them. A phased trail.
Yeah.
And they'd be following her. Oh,
do you ever remember Attack of the Mutant? We had a game in our primary school that was the game Attack of the Mutant. It was a Goosebumps one. And you're a guy and you get to the end of the line on the bus. And then you go into this big super tower and you have to navigate through. And it's a mutant. I'll show you the cover.
I don't remember it.
Attack of the Mutant.
But anything Ghostbusters?
That's that one there.
Oh, I remember
Attack of the Mutant. Yeah. And I remember there was another frightening Goosebumps book. There was the one where he goes to sleep or something. He wakes up in this jungle and there's these little monsters and they're playing Tiggy. They're playing tag and there's these creepy monsters. What? I'll see if I can find it. I remember reading. I don't think the story.
Yeah, I never read
that
book.
That's one of the creepiest books I've read. It gave me chills. Really? It was so weird.
I always found the Goosebumps. I never read the books, but the covers. Some of the covers.
This one,
really
Beast from the East.
Oh,
Beast from the East.
Yeah.
Look at that, the scenery, the umbrella trees.
It is beautiful.
And the beast, and he wakes up in this weird forest, and they're chasing him around. He doesn't know what's going on. Oh,
I like Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh, actually, I do remember. I don't know if it'd be around somewhere, but there was a
Monster Blood is a classic.
Goosebumps book about these monsters that come down these little asteroids. They're like these big green monsters.
Yeah.
And they'd land and like they had like suckers on their fingers.
Yeah.
And they'd suck like.
Was this Goosebumps?
Yeah, it's Goosebumps, and the kid sees it all dropping around his neighborhood, and he goes to his neighbor, and he's like being killed, like he's sucked and all that. I'm like, it was so, it was terrifying. Like Goosebumps was, it's chilling.
Goosebumps was freaky. Did you ever watch the Jack Black movie?
Yes,
No.
I did.
Moving on.
Did you like it?
No.
That's saving it for another episode.
It made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do two together because they're both around the same theme of like a relatively nice and bright kids movie that just turns dark for a scene.
Yeah. What was it?
Land Before Time 2.
Yes.
The Great Valley Journey or something. I just looked it up and now I've forgotten. I think it's a journey of the Great Valley. Doesn't matter. People aren't going to care if I don't get the title right.
I do.
They're like, you didn't get Land Before Time 2 right.
No, please get it right because I was a huge fan of the movie.
Land Before Time 2. So the scene is...
It was Journey to the Great Valley, but okay.
Wow, do you actually know that?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love these films. I went through, as people may know, I went through a big dinosaur phase.
The Great Valley Adventure.
All right,
so you got it wrong.
Right,
Go on about how much you love Land Before Time. No, but there was a scene, so there was a little, I think it was like a frog or a little creature, and he joins them on the journey, and then this scene where he has to go away for some reason, and they're like, we'll miss you, and it just goes, the music goes really dark, like the lighting goes dark, the music goes really sad.
Can you...
It makes me like...
Bring up the picture, because it's they meet the baby, the T-Rex, called Chomper, and the T-Rexes used to be
Chomper,
called...
that's Chomper, yeah.
Yeah,
Chomper,
they used to be called Sharptooths.
Yes.
And they meet him in an egg, and the mum and daddy come to...
Yeah, and then there's the big one,
Sabertooth.
Yeah, Sharptooth, yeah, the big
one. That was freaky. Let's talk about Land Before Time. Did you ever watch them, Sam?
I did, but I don't remember it.
The first movie is actually really emotional.
Yeah, and that's...
very dark.
Yeah, the mother dies.
Oh.
Is that the original?
Yeah.
First one? Okay.
Tearjerkers.
Yeah, why is it with, like, Bambi, the kid, the dying... I mean, Bambi we could probably put in there too. I'm just trying to find that scene where they have to get rid of the thing.
I'm 80% sure I'm going to rewatch some Land Before Times now because I remember those films used to be so scary. The Sharptooths used to
we're going to do a Dinotopia one eventually.
They come on, they used to like bite the soil because they like miss the dinosaurs. They're like, blah. And they'd be like, blah, blah, and like spit out of the soil. They reused that joke a few times. Dinotopia, yes, it wasn't scary, but a well-known show in its own right.
Yeah, there's I think that's a screenshot where they're either saying goodbye to the bird or that little dinosaur thing, that tiny little one.
Yeah.
Oh, Petrie.
Like, Petrie, we'll miss you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the story of the actress, the girl actress that played that
didn't
character?
She get murdered?
Yeah, she got murdered or something, like by her dad. It was real, like a year after the movie came out or something. It was really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yep.
Yeah.
That was a little trope of hers. She'd always.
Yeah. They're still making them. There's I think there's still Land Before Times.
Well, there's one where he meets his dad. That's the last one I saw. I was probably like 10, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, he meets his dad after all this time. And by the end of it, the dad goes and ditches him anyway. Goes off on his own head. He's like, no, I can't leave my friends.
Yeah, that was Pete.
You think the dad would stick around? Like, come on. Like, the grandpa and grandma are there anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was produced by
Steven
Spielberg.
Yes, it was.
Still, yeah.
He's
behind everything.
Steven Spielberg works in many ways. He loves his he loves his dinosaurs. He has his alien phase. He has his like
ghosts, like poltergeist.
Exploration phase, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Sharks.
World War II was a big one.
Horses, Warhorse.
Sharks.
I hated Warhorse. I hated it.
No.
Anyway, I want to do the other one, just the second one, because we could talk about Land Before. Well, Land Before Time probably deserves its own episode.
Oh yeah.
The Little Engine That Could.
Okay.
So it's about the train. We all know the story. The train has to go somewhere because
I cried during that film.
Yeah, there was a sad scene where he goes up and there's that like horrifying. I showed you that picture of the horrifying train.
Yeah.
And he tries to climb up the mountain. He's like, I think I can, and it's like dark and stormy, and he's like not going to make it. The tracks bend and break.
It
was just crazy.
Top,
yeah.
like, it's just.
And that scene was just like frightening. I remember seeing that and being terrified by it. I'll see if we can get a
Blue
picture.
engine that could. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I just remember. Was it blue and red? Blue, red. What colour was the train? I'm trying to remember. I remember a really rickety, crappy.
The little engine was blue.
Okay, blue. I might be thinking of Thomas the Tank Engine. I remember the railroad was like really, like rickety, and it was just like
Yeah. He goes through
like
he goes through the dark corner.
like
It's
floating.
called something like the dark corner.
it was just like floating, like it was really like.
Was it a full movie?
Yeah, there's a full movie on. Here's the
Can you bring up a picture?
Well, the little engine that could. I think it was just a story, and then they made it into a movie. I'm just trying to find a screenshot.
Probably started off as a book. I'd say.
Yeah, it's been a book. It was a book for ages. I think it's just like an old
There'll
story.
probably be a remake soon anyway.
Yeah,
Whatever.
starring The Rock as the little engine.
The Rock. Oh, and Kevin Hart as the evil engine.
Oh wow, Kevin Hart. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what he looked like there. And there
Oh
was a
my
scene-
god, he looks like an alien. God.
He's got a big head. He's like Megamind.
Oh, that's an ugly
Yeah.
train.
Yeah, it's an
Oh,
ugly
God.
train. You wanted a
Oh.
hot train, did you?
Well,
But he had the friends, like he had the
Give me
giraffes. 'Cause-
something.
oh, that's right. He had the zoo with him. He had the zoo. He had the clown and the giraffes and like a bird.
I have no idea.
Yeah, and he had to try. He was trying to get them to their show or something to safety.
And there was an evil train for some reason. You gotta have an antagonist.
Well,
I
that's
guess.
a shot from where he goes into the cave.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Like it's horrifying.
Oh.
Weird.
Yeah,
Well, there you go. Like
it's just crazy. I'm
you
seeing
can make
that.
anything frightful these days.
These
Yeah,
days.
I think what those two movies is, it's like the tone was actually pretty light and cheerful through most of the film, and you just have that random dark moment.
Suddenly,
Even like with
yeah.
Dumbo, like with that pink elephant scene, or Willy Wonka with the that just
Yeah.
violent boat scene, it just shows you this
Yeah.
creepy murderous underside,
Yeah.
like a David Lynch Blue Velvet. Just bet Sean hasn't. Have you
Well,
seen
boys, no.
Blue Velvet? We got to watch that.
But my theory is that
So Sam, what was your next one?
The Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Oh, I haven't
And
seen that.
Jennifer
I
Connelly.
regret that I haven't seen that.
Me
Yet.
either.
Yeah.
What
There-
frightened you? Was it David Bowie's
There
giant
was.
penis?
Is he
Well, I
dick
mean, it
out?
was kind of.
No, but he's got like a big. I've heard that he's quite
His
profound.
pants were pretty
You
tight.
don't
Yeah,
have to
tight
find a
thing.
photo, but
Tight
I'm going to
pants.
find a photo. So.
Alright.
But I feel like he always wore tight pants.
besides
so.
his tight penis, what else? Did you...
There was these weird like creatures that sing this song. That scene, I think most people would remember if they've ever seen The Labyrinth.
Oh,
Prominent
But, yeah.
fellas, yeah.
got its own
So
shadow.
what is creepy about the song?
It's kind of it's in the same like realm as The Neverending Story and that other one, which I can't remember right now. And so it's like it's that real 80s
Yeah.
puppet monster things that I don't know, like the Jim Henson type
Oh,
of
yeah,
puppets
yeah.
that were really creepy, especially when you're really young. I've watched it recently and it's not
Yeah.
as scary now, but it's actually the same as Return to Oz, which had
seen
those
scenes of
guys
that film.
with the roller skates on all fours.
Yeah.
Is that what year was that one? Return to Oz, was that like
85.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And that was meant to be a sequel to
Sequel,
original.
I'll
yeah.
show you a video by the Angry Video Game Nerd, the guy with the glasses. He talks about. I remember there was stop motion or something, like rocks or something, or a guy with like a pan face
A pan.
or something. Or there's
It's
something
always
about
like
mirrors.
disfigurement. Have you noticed?
Oh,
It's
no.
always
Yeah.
There was like these heads, and they're talking.
oh
Ah.
Like they sneak into this like chamber, and there's like these heads or something.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar.
Or
it's
I
always
haven't watched Return to Oz in a while. I just remember
Yeah.
the roller skate guys, and they freaked me out.
were they on their hands and
Yeah,
Legs,
like
like-
yeah, it's like those weird if like you Google or YouTube like scary videos and stuff. Like there's these weird things that people think are real that people have videotaped, and they're on all fours, and they
Ugh.
look like they're on stilts.
yeah.
And
Is this on Labyrinth?
no, Return to Oz.
Okay, Return to Oz.
Yeah.
I'll put Return to Oz. I need to have a look.
oh okay.
The yeah, the Labyrinth though. I mean, it wasn't as scary, but there was just that one that just it was more it creeped you out rather than scared me. I didn't have nightmares over it, but
Oh, these are Return to Oz monsters. Oh, that is creepy.
yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
On their stilts, Return to
Ugh.
Oz. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting into that one now. I gotta
No,
Yeah, no, we
they're
can do
kind of the same thing, though.
Yeah, it's like that 80s kind of...
Yeah.
It's like the costume design is what makes it.
Yeah.
It's like people in costumes that just doesn't look right.
Yeah. And the I guess it was meant to be, because it was a kids' film, it was the same thing that you were saying, where the tone was light, but then everything else was creepy.
Yeah, and then it just goes dark.
Yeah.
Because all kids are going to watch the first Wizard of Oz. It wasn't anything too scary, was there?
The flying monkeys.
The monkeys were scary.
A bit silly.
But I don't like
With
monkeys.
the big face.
I think because it's so dated, you move beyond it.
From the scenes I've seen Return to Oz, it's a completely different film.
Yeah.
Like, it's so out
I need
there.
to watch that, yeah.
But it is true, or mostly true, to the second book.
Yeah, okay. So it's a faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to rewatch it then and see if
Yeah,
it still
I know.
creeps you out, or it's...
What's yours? What's your next one?
Well, I'll do two then, I guess.
Yeah, we just, if they're linked.
Okay, well, these are linked, because these are linked by ABC.
Okay. So like Freaky Friday.
Yeah, well, there was
Kids.
Round the Twist.
Oh, yes, of course.
So there was an episode with a little porcelain doll. You and I watched this the other night.
Oh, yeah,
right,
they're on
on
sounding familiar.
Stan, and
Yeah.
so the story goes: they buy a doll, or they find a doll, and
It was an old
the
doll.
girl, I don't remember her name, has a doll of Michael Jackson, and
Yeah.
she sleeps with the
Barbie.
doll
Was
of
it
Michael
always
Jackson.
Michael Jackson? Yeah.
Bit of a sick joke, considering Michael Jackson's in the bed with a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
But was this before the allegations? Yeah.
We get about the same time.
Great.
And so this doll, in the end,
Yeah.
just wanted to be with Michael Jackson. So the doll
What the hell?
crawls towards
Spoilers.
Michael Jackson. Spoilers.
Yeah.
There's a
1994.
scene where she's in bed and she wakes up, and the doll is like, she hears some like
Yeah.
tiny feet going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she opens her eyes, and at the end of the bed, the porcelain doll
Oh, that's
is
creepy.
standing there,
Yeah.
and like it's. Oh, I remember watching that, and it might have been like 5:30 at night, and I could not sleep because it's just terrifying. And it's one of those things where the rest of the episodes are all lighthearted and funny.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a
And then
Yeah.
I remember that was one of two that actually came up with an M-rated rating.
Yes,
for
there were a
adult
few.
themes.
Yeah.
And whenever that came on, you were like,
Oh,
better tell
Yeah.
mum. Like,
actually, yeah.
yeah, and you're like,
Yeah.
you knew, like, you're in for a big
For
one.
non-Australians listening, Paul Jennings was like a classic. Everyone had Paul Jennings books,
Yeah.
and they always
Yeah.
had the Un series. It was unreal,
Yeah.
uncanny, unbelievable,
I like the
Yeah.
green one. Which one was that?
unfathomable. I
Was
don't
that
know.
the one with the
I think that was
fish in his mouth?
Unreal. I just remember the green.
Yeah, well,
cover.
and he had a series like the Gizmo and all those different
yeah,
series.
that's right.
And
Yeah,
so Round the Twist was a series about, like, we know this, but it's a series about his books, and it was the same family that live in a lighthouse
And strange things happen.
that we like to go view down at Aries. What is it?
Ocean Grove.
Ayers Point.
Yeah.
I'm going blank. But there was one in particular, a Paul Jennings story. You've just reminded me. It was the one where they were in the boat and the guy's finger gets cut off, and it's like the finger's got the tattoo that moves around, and the tattoo jumps onto him, and then they find the guy who's like dead and he's covered in tattoos, and they realize it's his finger, and there's like a curse.
I don't remember that.
I don't
Was it?
remember
Is that the one?
either.
Paul Jennings
on-
Unreal? No, not that one.
No. It was green, mate. What was that? Around the Twist episode or a book?
I don't remember if it was around the Twist episode, but it was in one of the books, like Unreal or something.
Oh, I just got hit by another episode.
Yeah.
I remember there was a Bronson.
Tongue-tied?
That's the one, the green one.
Yeah, tongue-tied, yeah.
That was great.
I remember reading like one chapter and getting bored. I wasn't much of a reader.
Undone was one. Unbelievable.
Bronson, I remember this episode where he goes into a cave and there's a dragon and it like comes out of nowhere. It's like this crappy little plastic dragon and it breathes fire. It was the scariest thing. And at the beginning, because it's in the beginning of the show. Like it's in the beginning credits where you can actually you see it blowing the fire.
Yeah.
It's always creeps me out.
Was
Yeah.
that the other M?
Terrifying. It reminded me of a bit like Alien because he's in like
Yeah.
a little tunnel.
And there was one story with a guy, I remember because he couldn't give the finger because he didn't have his finger. And that was set at Knox City because he goes to Knox City in the thing, and that's like the shopping centre from our childhood. or still now. There's a story where he goes to Knox City.
Oh.
I remember it's like you're reading a book about a place that you go.
Yeah.
It was the
So
weirdest
Did you go
thing.
Caribbean markets after?
No, he didn't go to the
Oh
Caribbean.
gosh.
I'm trying to find a picture of the I can't find it of the one. I can't remember the story, but like it was a guy and he lost his finger because his dad. They went out boating and they found this dead guy on a boat. Oh, that one there it is. Uncanny. It's the boat one,
Uncanny.
and the guy's like covered in tattoos, and they find him dead on a
remember
boat.
it. It might
And
be
because you
on
see the
boat.
kid's got the tattoo on his finger, so the tattoo leaps, and then he gets the tattoo and it climbs back onto the guy's body, and it like breaks the curse or something.
Does he come back alive?
Oh,
Ryan?
crazy.
No.
That sounds interesting.
Just a secondly as
Yeah.
well. So going on the theme of ABC shows, a show called Jeopardy, not the game show.
I remember Jeopardy.
So the story is 10 British kids go into the
Yeah.
Australian outback, and there's two it's like Australian rangers, and they start seeing like UFOs, and one of them is like really like, oh, there's aliens, and they've got little handheld cameras, and they're going around shooting, and he gets abducted.
Yeah.
And
Those
one
aliens, I
by
remember
one,
that, yeah.
they start
Yeah.
disappearing. So the whole vibe of it's really creepy. There's one scene in particular where there's writing on a tree. I don't know what it might have said no or go away or something.
Yeah.
And they're looking at it, and I remember actually just jumping in fear at this. But they zoom in into the tree, and something begins to write on the tree. Like it goes like that. Like it's something like I don't know how they did it, but something starts to write like a message on a tree, and they just run. And I just remember it's one of the
amazing.
scariest scenes. Like it was.
That's crazy. I don't think I ever really
I know.
watched that
I
too
never
much.
watched it.
Oh,
I remember it was
gosh.
on, and I was always like, I think it was too much for me. Like I was like, this because they had wasn't it they had a language? There was like codes. You're saying like the writing. I think there was like codes and I think crop circles and stuff too.
It was just
Yeah, it was very like one of those
Everything about it was-
conspiracy type.
because there'd always be these like shots from above. I don't know how they did because there's no drones back then, but they always had
Yeah.
these like really nice shots from just over the trees
Yeah,
and like just following them if they're like in a canoe or something, and it'd
Yeah.
be like
they still had like model
Oh.
aeroplane. Like they still had like aeroplanes that they could put
Oh, yeah, that's
attach
true.
cameras on.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
model aeroplanes.
really creepy though.
All right, I got a. Speaking of Michael Jackson, the Thriller video at the end where, he's dancing
he
and there's like
turns
this
around?
turns around like
Oh, yeah.
that always frightened me. And when I made my student like film for media, I did the same thing with a Lego piece. The guy has a dream that he goes into the dream world and there's like this Lego thing that attacks him, and then he wakes up and then like the Lego piece is on his back. Like it inspired me, but I just remember that's just a creepy scene where like he turns out to be the werewolf like at the end.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2, that's when there's a scene where she's like, and that's where I found out there was no Santa Claus. And I was watching this, I was like 8 years old. and because the Gremlins is always like sort of a comedic
Yeah.
type of horror film. But there's just this scene where the girl like talks about how it was her dad. Like he tried to... Do you know the story that she tells?
No.
Anyway, so what happens is the dad, like, he was, like, neglectful or something, or he was always busy, so he tried to, like, make a Christmas special. So he dressed up as Santa and went down the chimney to, like, deliver them presents, and he got stuck and he died.
Oh,
So they
horrible.
prodded him out of the chimney, and he's like a dead
gosh.
body. And she's like, and that's how I found out there's no Santa Claus. Her dad died. He came out of the chimney. I'll try and see if we can link the story,
That's
but it was
horrible.
like,
Yeah, if
terrifying.
you find the scene
I
on
don't
YouTube.
remember.
That was,
that
I
part.
remember that. I was just watching that with like the most freaked out face.
wow.
I'm pretty sure if I watched that again, that would still scare me.
The only thing I remember from Gremlins 2 is when they're in like the laboratory, and all the gremlins start taking
Yeah.
different animal potions,
Yeah.
and one becomes a spider.
Oh,
Do you
really?
remember that? He takes spider DNA, and it's like a gremlin with 8 legs.
Yeah, I don't remember
It's
that.
disgusting. Really freaky.
Maybe I haven't seen it and I just can't remember.
Because Gremlins 1's a bit of a classic.
Yeah, Gremlins
Yeah,
one.
and see, Gremlins 2 just took the tone to a different place.
Way more goofier.
Yeah, but then there was that horror scene where she talks about her dad dying in the chimney.
Yeah.
Like, it was freaky, and that's how she found out there's no Santa Claus. And I'm like, this is too much to take.
That's
The death of a father and no Santa Claus
Jeez.
in one night.
Yeah, what a night.
Yeah. I'll quickly mention another one too, so
Go for it,
because
yeah.
just to get through that. Saving Private Ryan. I remember the opening scene.
Oh, wow.
I watched it when I was like 11 with my dad, and because we were
wow.
watching just movies. Like he just had a whole bunch. Like we watched
Yeah.
Forrest Gump, that was fine. Good Will Hunting, yeah, whatever. Saving Private Ryan, like guts and stuff are flying everywhere.
Jeez.
But see, I think that's more obvious why it was frightening, because a kid shouldn't watch that
Yeah.
film.
No.
And that's a
Yeah.
good reason for having ratings. And why-
No, I feel exactly the same. I remember, 'cause obviously Dad being he got it on
a
VHS.
film buff, yeah, and he's gonna be on to talk about.
He will be one day.
Yeah.
I remember watching
Wolf
like
films.
the Guts.
Yeah, the
Like a
guts.
guy's
I felt
guts.
sick. I was like,
Yeah. Because I'd
Yeah.
never seen that much
No.
gore, and
Yeah.
I think because it was filmed so, like it was a real event.
yeah, it actually
It
happened.
felt,
Yeah.
ooh. And also just to say, Saving Private Ryan, where when they're coming up the hill to a bunker and they split up, a guy gets shot, the medic gets shot, and he had holes, but the way they filmed it so well, like I remember them wiping off the blood, but like wiping off the blood around the holes, but then more blood would seep out.
Yeah.
And it looked so real. And
Yeah, it was, that opening scene. I've never seen the rest of the film because I've never gotten through the opening scene.
Yeah.
Guys, like
Apparently it's not that
they're
great.
all
It's just
on
Matt
fire.
Damon having a sook.
They're all-
Doesn't even want to be saved. Should have just left
Yeah,
him there.
sadly.
Then we would have had no Martian. Anyway.
Yeah, but no, people on fire and people losing
Yeah,
arms.
it's a terrifying
I
10
remember
minutes
all-
opening.
when the ocean is just red,
Yeah.
and like something,
And they start getting shot at
splashes
the
on
start
Tom
through
Hanks.
their helmets.
The water splashes on Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
and it's just all blood.
Yeah.
You guys had a crazy childhood because my parents never let me watch.
Yeah,
any
no,
of
I wasn't.
this
This is why
stuff.
my mother never let me. It was my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to... Anyway.
Nah,
So what's your next one?
yours are pretty chilled, Sam.
Yeah, well, see, like I said, like my childhood wasn't crazy. My
You're
parents
protected
never,
from-
yeah, my parents never let me watch Jurassic Park
Mm.
when I was little. I didn't see that until I don't know, high school.
Jeez,
Yeah, so
you didn't have a
I had a
dinosaur
pretty-
period.
tame childhood, huh?
Did you ever go through a dinosaur time?
No,
I think that's more little boys, Sean.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had Barbies and Polly Pockets.
Polly, wow. Product placement too, if that's still on sale.
But the things that I do like distinctly remember were ads on TV, and the first movie that gave me full on like nightmares for probably I would say at least a year, probably over, was The
Wow.
Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
The Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
So you're allowed to
so-
watch
Yes.
I was in year 5 when I watched that, and I watched it at a friend's house, so my parents didn't know.
Ooh.
And
So rebellious.
that I had nightmares for
Yeah.
a long time.
We've discussed the scene. You've seen it, Nathan?
Yeah, I've seen The Sixth Sense, yeah.
What what do you think which scene she's mentioning?
Well, if you're saying it like that, it's obviously not the obvious one of I see dead people.
No,
No,
that's
the
not scary.
Yeah, the scariest
But the kid.
scene that
It's not
you think is
scary.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of frightened of Bruce Willis in general, so any scene for me. Is it the scene where M. Night Shyamalan debuts?
What's
Second-
that?
I don't know. He's in every movie, though, so he'd be in
Yeah.
there somewhere. He wrote Stuart Little, anyway.
Yeah,
That's a good film.
Yeah,
I
good
liked
work.
that film.
I like the twist at the end where it's... Oh, no, wait.
Spoilers.
Anyway. Where's a mouse?
Do you remember the movie Mousetrap?
Yes.
It's on my list.
Oh, we'll
It's
get
on
to
my
that.
list.
We'll get to that. Oh,
It's
wow.
actually Mouse Hunt. With Nathan Lane.
The two guys in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
is it
yeah.
Mouse Hunt?
Timon,
Is
yeah.
it?
It's called Mouse Hunt, yeah.
Oh.
I remember
I
that's
remember
one
that.
of the first instances I
I think
heard
we had
the
that
F
on
word.
VHS
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, go on.
So,
Yeah.
no,
What
what's the
scene
scene?
did
I don't know, tell me the scene. Tell me the scene.
It's the scene in the kitchen where he walks out and he thinks it's his mum, and she turns around, she's got like cuts on her
Oh, I don't even
Her-
remember that.
thing, and she's just like, "You did this to me," and he went and he bolts down the ugh, it
When he's
freaks
hiding
me
his
out.
little
Oh, okay.
tent.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
that's weird.
I just thought of another one.
All right, well, you say it then.
And I can link this, actually. And it's the next one. Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes. All right. Let's do this, baby. So, speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, Signs. It's still why? Oh, here we go. Sam's giving me a look because I always try and slip this movie in somewhere.
Yeah. This
Signs-
always comes up.
Signs is a brilliant film.
I haven't.
Just gonna
That's
say.
one I haven't seen.
You haven't seen
It's made.
Signs?
It made like all the money. I know.
Oh god, it's probably it was his last good film. I'm just gonna say that. Look, Signs is
Split was pretty good.
Yeah, we haven't seen Split.
It was good. Watch it. We'll do an
Really?
ep on it.
okay. Fair enough. We'll do an ep on Signs. Signs. There's a scene. I don't want to ruin it for you, Nathan. But
So quickly, just is that the kitchen scene?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks like
kind
it.
of.
'Cause then
Oh, she's got the wrists out. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like,
Yeah.
Oh god.
Who's she talking to if he's dead?
no, she thinks that he is like her husband or something because she says something about like
okay.
you doing this to me and
Yeah.
and then and then he just like bolts and the kid with the like he's talking to this kid and then the kid turns around and he's got like a shotgun blast in the back of his head.
And I remember in the school, there's like hanging people.
Yeah, because he
Ugh.
says that they used to hang people on the school grounds.
Okay,
Oh.
maybe that's a creepy movie that I remember. We'll have to watch
Sixth
that again.
Sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's Signs?
Signs is a scene that. So, well, you know, you kind of get aliens come to Earth, and they start seeing evidence of this. So on the TV show, there's footage in Mexico,
Yeah.
and it's at a kid's birthday party, and there's a quick flash of the party in the backyard. It spins around. You know, they go down the hallway and look out the window, and it's kind of like right side is all these like palm trees. There's an alley.
It's like bushes and
Bushes,
stuff on
and
one
there's an
side.
alley. So
Is that where the alien comes?
Yeah,
Yes!
that's it.
That's it.
Oh.
And it's like, yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The alien's greenish, and then
yeah.
it comes out of the.
And it
I'm
can
pretty
kind
sure
Yeah.
that's the Grinch.
and it kind of it can
Jim
kind
Carrey? Is it a crossover?
Wow. Both equally terrifying, but because they can kind of camouflage as well. And the great thing is, I remember watching this with my parents, is that the alien's there the whole time,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's not really a jump scare. It just kind of it walks out really
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
And but
You
I think
don't expect it in a way. Like if you haven't seen it, obviously. If you watch it for the first time, you don't expect it.
No,
so it
that's
just
the real
comes,
kicker.
Yeah.
and I think that scene is probably up there with my most fears because it's so slow and it looks.
It is
so
aliens. You have this
real.
weird fear. What do you think you're afraid of aliens for?
Because I've been
Therapy.
abducted.
You've been
I
abducted.
told Sam I was abducted one night here.
What?
I was next to her.
Oh my
No,
God.
seriously, I was next to her one night. And I had a nightmare about aliens being abducted. And then I remember when I
Yes,
woke
you had a
up,
dream,
in the
Sean.
middle of the night, I remember the feeling of being like falling back into my bed
Yeah.
and like a little vibration. I woke up like this. I'm like, oh. I felt like aliens.
But
And then I woke
everyone's
up Sam, I'm like,
gone
I think
through
I've been
that.
abducted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and then
that
I
doesn't
said,
that doesn't
"No,
explain. You
you
didn't know
haven't."
Sam when you were a child, so this might happen
No.
last year.
This happened not that long ago.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, well, like, you know.
You thought you got
But-
Sam
abducted.
didn't believe me. This
No,
has happened a few
no.
Well, of course she
times.
doesn't believe you. She's a sensible human being.
Just saying.
She doesn't believe you.
Everyone's had those falling dreams before.
Yeah, but
doesn't
this
mean
is
everyone's-
falling from outer space.
Oh, you thought you'd fallen back into the
Yeah.
here. How did you? Why is there no hole in the hole? What's the ceiling?
yeah.
Oh my god!
All right.
I got abducted by aliens.
So
Was
and
that your two, or are you doing another one?
the second one's just the
Oh,
village.
okay. Oh, the village. Yes.
There's one
Actually,
scene
yeah.
because there's these watchtowers from all these monsters in the forest, and
Oh, yeah.
they look they can
Yes,
see, like they
yes.
hatch and they look down, and then the monster walks past,
Ah.
and there was that little jump scare that really.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
yeah.
The
That
rest of
is
the movie was
that is
terrible.
yeah. It frightened me how bad that movie was. No, that's 3 M Night Shyamalan in a row. So let's move on.
Yeah,
a lot of Spielberg too. I want to do 3 in a row. These are like classic kids movies that all had like a terrifying scene in them. Dennis the Menace, which
Yeah.
the the bad guy. He's like eating the
The
apple,
bad guy.
and he's like watching him in the backyard. Do you remember that
No.
scene? I'll show you.
It's
the,
really like creepy now. Like,
Yeah, 'cause it's like
you watch
pedophilia,
It,
yeah.
when you watch it when you're a kid, you just think like
Oh, he's just a bad guy,
yeah, stranger danger. But like, yeah, and the little girl creeps me out. I hate.
Yeah,
her.
we have
I've
to kiss
never
the butt,
seen that
yeah.
film. But that's
That's the bad guy in Dennis the Menace. It's the guy from Harry Potter, Professor Finch from Harry Potter.
really
Yeah,
wow. I haven't seen that.
yeah, that's him. He's like watching him from the tree. Yeah, it's really creepy. The other one, Stand by Me, with the dead body. You know when they the whole movie is they're trying to find the kid that died, and then they find him at the end.
Yeah,
You see the body.
You see the body.
That's just like, how do you end a film with that?
Yeah.
The Goonies as well with Sloth, the guy in the cave, like freaky disfigured face.
Yeah.
The Goonies, I kind of.
But you know who we're talking about? That guy at the end, that
Yeah,
creepy face. Did that not freak you out?
I haven't seen the Goonies. I know there's
That
there's the
guy.
truffle shuffle.
Yeah, but that is that not creepy as a kid looking at that?
That's horrifying. But the truffle
That's what we're
shuffle
getting
was
at.
amazing.
Stop talking about the truffle shuffle.
I just want to quickly get back to one of the main points. Any of these past movies that you've watched, would you say Have you watched them recently? You've been frightened. We kind of lost it at Goosebumps. I just want to go back and cover our tracks.
Oh, like going
just quickly, like go through them.
Well, I think we tried to mention the ones. I don't think I've seen anything Sam's talked about, so I've got a lot to watch. The ones you've talked about, I haven't seen much of.
Yeah,
like I forgot. Well, The Sixth Sense. I've seen The Sixth Sense, but I don't remember that scene, so I need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
The ones I talked about, it's kind of like Thriller. I'm over that now.
Yeah.
Things like that. Saving Private Ryan, I still haven't been able to get through that first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I've heard that it's actually quite an average film after that, like Netflix. Those ones I just talked about, I haven't seen for a while, but I just remember them creeping me out as a kid. And I probably wouldn't now, but when you're a kid and you see those, I think it's just when it's something slightly off. It's like a light tone, and then you see it in twist, and it just gives you this weird feeling. Like another example of that is Mouse Hunt, the cockroach. Where the guy swallows a cockroach at the start, and he dies, he falls back and dies. And it's got the newspaper, like, guy dies from eating a cockroach.
Yeah, that's
because he dies on screen. You see him, like, and die. And that just terrified me. Because that's such a light comic film.
Yeah.
And that the guy died in it, that just creeped me out.
And it's a kid's film.
I remember seeing that so much in primary school, that film. I should remember that.
Yeah, it's Mouse Hunt with Nathan Lane. Yeah. I'll see if I can find it.
Sam, is there any other, would you say... what have you haven't brought up any just yet, have you?
No.
See, that's the guy there. Like that's the fat guy there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and then
fat guy.
and then he vomits out the cockroach.
Yeah, really unsettling.
He's like, and then there's a cockroach.
Does he just pick it up with a fork, or is it on a piece of food?
No, he eats the food because remember I think they're chefs and they put the cockroach in the food accidentally, and that's how they lose their job. And then they have to go build the building. It's a weird film, actually.
Yeah, it is a weird film.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly go over my ones, just quickly. So, Round the Twist, Porcelain Doll was kind of still a bit goofy.
Yeah.
It's dated
really,
badly.
Yeah,
like you watch it now.
Music's still creepy.
And it's a lot quicker when you watch it now to when you're a kid. It seems so much longer.
Yeah.
Like the episodes and the scary bits seem so much longer, I feel.
Yeah, like those Round the Twist episodes went for like an hour back in the day.
Yeah.
Signs is still freaky to me. Can't be bothered with the village.
Because you got abducted, right?
Exactly. It resonates with me. Jeopardy, haven't had a chance to watch again.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly... Well, did you have it? Oh, so it's your turn, Sam.
The other ones, I don't know. Hocus Pocus scared me when I first watched it, but I've seen that movie.
I recognise it. I don't know what that is either.
It's got Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and they're witches.
Ugh.
No, but it's a good movie. I've seen it so many times.
Is that like Bewitched with Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman?
No.
Hocus Pocus. Yeah, I haven't seen that. But
well, when I was younger, it was
1993.
It was just this really
Any particular
creepy...
scene?
Not really a particular scene.
Just the whole film.
Just the
whole
thing,
they look like I'll show Sean how they're dressed.
Oh,
they're
just like single mothers.
Yeah. And she's doing the Force Lightning too.
Yeah.
What's with the Force Lightning?
It was the era.
The era of Force Lightning.
I'm a little bit older.
I want
to. So.
Is there any other one?
And the Witches.
The Witches.
The Witches.
Yeah,
oh, that sounds
where
familiar.
the little kid they turn the kid into a rat. But then when you actually see, the witches are actually really attractive, but then they show their true face.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Man.
I remember
that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was from a book.
Oh, God.
You know, it's interesting. All yours seem to be female, it's female stuff, and ours are male. Is there something in that?
Oh, maybe.
Because your things are it's disfigured females.
Yeah. Maybe I'm very
Mine's aliens
vain.
and yours is...
Well, I got one more that is actually... Actually, my last one.
Go to me, because I've got, 4 more.
Oh, you've got 4 more.
Yeah, I'll
quickly run them out quickly.
Yeah. So, no, just pretty quickly. So, I'm gonna link X-Files and The Simpsons together.
Yeah. The X-Files Simpsons crossover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the first one, this isn't part of the crossover,
Yeah.
but it still scared me. It's one of the Halloween specials where the dolphins
attack.
invade.
Yeah, because that's... Yeah.
And I remember they're watching TV,
Yeah.
and the dolphins come into the newsroom with Ken Brockman.
Yes.
And they have a volleyball or something. No, they hit his face, and then they throw the volleyball at the TV screen. And that always reminded me of a zombie invasion where they invade and you're at home and you can just, it's the fear of seeing it on your TV and then wondering when is it going to happen to me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the things that really get me in films. X-Files crossover, X-Files scene with Mr. Burns in the forest was the scariest Simpsons episode I've ever seen. I remember vivid memories
Was
of
there
like
aliens?
Homer when Homer and Bart are by the fire, and they have all the camping gear, and it has like property of Ned Flanders, and they've got the shaky cam, and they see the and like
That's amazing.
the thinger, and he's like I never back as a child I wouldn't think it's Mr. Burns.
Yeah,
I thought it was a real proper alien, like.
Oh.
And there's a scene where I remember, I don't know why I was scared of this, but Fox, Mulder, and Scully.
Yeah.
They hear the bushes rustling.
Yeah.
But it's Grandpa Simpson, and the turtle's got his dentures, and he's like, "Come back here."
Yeah.
Crossing into X-Files. X-Files opening is still freaky to this day.
I've never seen X-Files.
Like
I actually haven't either. That's another show. It's on my list. This never got around to.
Yeah, it's on my list.
I've seen the
too.
opening though.
It'll come on it. It'll come on Netflix.
I hope.
Well, they've done they've already done a reboot too.
Yeah.
How do they make this stuff faster than I can watch?
Yeah.
They're still trying to tweeze it out.
Tweeze.
So The Simpsons, those 2 episodes still give me the chills. X-Files, there's an episode with like a Bigfoot-ish monster, and they go into the girls' room, and there's like finger marks, I remember, on like a dresser drawer, and they show like flashbacks or something, or someone's like remembering what happened, and I feel like you see it, but it's like just a guy in a suit, but the editing is really like fast paced, and you don't get to see it properly, and that scared me. Second episode, I remember Fox Mulder is walking up a staircase, and he looks down into a lounge room, and the lightning goes up, and there's like a ghostly figure there, like for a second, it's the person standing there, and then it, lightning goes off and it disappears.
Oh, okay.
And that, I remember, that's, one of those early, like...
It's like Lights Out.
Huge, like, scares as a child.
Yeah.
And I actually used to have the 1 to 7 seasons
Is
of
that
X-Files.
is that it there? No?
What the hell?
I don't know.
No.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing.
God. Oh, God. I don't know what that is. But that is an episode from the X-Files, but not the one I'm referring to. So I watched the Lightning Strike episode again. I knew it was coming. I haven't seen this scene in like 15 years. I'm like, I bet it's going to be really crap. And the lightning strike, and it was just really lame.
Yeah.
It wasn't. The scene that, when I was a kid, I saw an alien dark figure.
Yeah.
And then this scene, it was like a lady dressed in like night gear.
Oh.
And it looked really bad.
I don't like rewatching things that scare me, because I really love horror movies. And I think that the ones that actually scare me, like The Sixth Sense, if I watch that now, it's not going to scare me now because I've seen too many horror movies. So I just don't want to rewatch it because I'm scared that it won't impact me the same way.
So you want to be scared?
Yeah. Oh,
Don't you
yeah.
want it to feel good?
Doesn't the curiosity, though, make you want to watch it? Like, whoa, why was I scared of this?
Yeah.
No, because I like the feeling of being scared now.
Okay, the impression that it left on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, are you done with yours?
Well, are you up to your last one?
Well, yeah. Well, I was going to say my last one to just before we finish.
I've got 5 more. So.
5 more?
I had a horrible childhood.
Quickly, run them out, quickly.
Alright. South Park, staying on TV.
Dragon Ball Z.
No, that was scary.
Dragon Ball Z.
That was scary.
Just say what it is, and then I'll put up the link so people can watch it.
South
And
Park Halloween.
We'll
South
analyse
Park-
it later.
South Park Halloween episode.
Your time's up. You can
There's a South Park Halloween episode
Okay,
where
yeah.
Stan gets a pet goldfish
Yeah.
and ends up killing people in the town.
That frightened you.
The same as the porcelain doll. Wait, let me finish. He wakes up and like there's a lightning strike and the bowl is like on his like chest drawer and it goes up onto his bed and he goes back to bed and wakes up and it's like right in front of him. That was scary as a kid. The mum would come in, there'd be like a dead body in his room.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z, there was an episode, there was a character called Cell who used to go around
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
sucking,
Yeah.
like suck
yeah.
the body, like this, like the muscle out of these humans. Everything gone.
Yeah.
It would just be clothing, and
He'd take all their cells.
he'd take all the cells. So he'd get. Don't give me that look. All right? I've seen it more times than you. So they're going through the town, and it's dead quiet.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, I remember this scene. It goes into a window of a house, and the door and the windows open, the wind's fluttering, and there's a dining table and it's just clothes sitting in a chair, like 2 chairs. Mm. And it's the freakiest thing. It's like because you put it into your mind like this monster coming out of the bushes, and you're having breakfast, and you just you get the life sucked out of you, or the cells sucked out of you. That was freaky. 3 more. James and the Giant Peach, classic movie. There was a metallic shark, and it had like a blender mouth.
That I remember that. Yeah.
For some reason, and it'd be eating tuna, and then it shot these little missiles out that hooked onto the peach, and it was drawing the peach in to eat.
I don't remember any of this.
I don't know where the giant metal shark came into the film, because I thought it was just a tiny peach.
That one. The
So-
shark there.
Let's have a look. So I don't know. Oh god! Oh, it looks horrible. The special effects are more frightening these days, but I don't know where that little shark is. It like a toy in a bathtub? I don't know the story of it.
Well, it's just a fantasy. There's sort of a bigger scene with the giant peach going towards the shark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The next one.
James and Giant Peach, just the ending as well. There's like a giant ball in the sky. And It's like running towards him, and he's like, "I'm not afraid," and it just disappears. Ants, the termite scene.
That is true.
Where they march in. It's like, they're like all like standing around with their little toothpicks and like, oh man, where are they? And then all of a sudden, like this big green termite comes out, and they come out of the walls and they start fighting each other. Another terrifying one.
Yeah, that one I do remember that. That is, and the guy dies, and it's the head.
Yes.
And his friend dies, and you think he's like in the ground. Yeah, Barbosa.
Barbosa.
Yeah, Barbosa.
Captain Barbosa. Another one, like, it starts out as a normal movie about ants.
Yeah.
And then there's just this huge action scene.
Yeah.
It was like the Saving
Well,
Private Ryan.
you know, Ants is like a Woody Allen film, by the way.
Really?
Woody Allen's the main character in that flick. No,
that-
not flick. That's Bug's Life. No, but Woody Allen is in Ants.
Really?
And Sylvester Stallone's the other guy.
Yes, he
And
is.
Sharon Stone. Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Amazing cast.
Yeah. Is that all?
Oh, God. You've got one more left.
Well, my one was like sort of what turned me. It was Saw, and I watched that when I was like 13, and it flicked a switch for me. Like at the end, you know, where it's like the game over,
Yeah.
and like the guy rises up, you know, and that music,
Yeah.
that was terrifying.
Good job,
Thank you.
That was good. Well, we'll put the music over that to see how accurate it were. No, it was good. But that when I watched that and we started with my friend Lucas, we made like films, like we recreated it and stuff, and that was a film that sort of made me realize that horror films aren't that scary.
Yeah.
And ever since like Saw was the film that made me like not afraid of horror films anymore. After that,
Yeah.
so no other films like really genuinely frightened me.
Yeah.
There's like things where it's like shocks you, or you know, like Paranormal Activity gives you like the jump scares, but nothing's ever made me like frightened internally, like all the stuff we've just discussed
Yeah.
from Saw.
Yeah. Because at the very beginning, there's the key, and you see
Well, it's kind of like a psychological thriller.
because it goes down the drain.
It's all the puzzles and the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's just something about it made me realize, like, you know, it's just because it was the guys who made it lived in Scoresby, like they're from where we are from, basically. And then my media teacher, Mrs. Collins, taught Lee Winnell, who wrote and directed the film. So it kind of like, for me, it's like that was close to home, and it realized that they're just movies, and there's not really nothing to be afraid of, like movie wise.
Two little Melburnians.
Yeah.
Is that your last one?
Well, that was there was another couple that I had written down, like Edward Scissorhands, The Mask.
All small things like
Yeah, it's just more that it was like Edward. It's just that it's something creepy in suburbia. I think.
Yeah, like disturbing characters in general. Like,
I think it's just that the fear that we may get killed by a creepy serial killer. Well, that's kind of what it is, isn't it? Like the aliens view is just something lurking in the background that may kill you. Like, you know, Dennis the Menace is like that creepy guy that wants to harm you.
You witches or
Yeah, it's just that there's like something freaky can come out
stuff.
and scare you.
Yeah, mostly like fantasy stuff for me.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think that just symbolizes, though, doesn't it, that there's like a sort of another world out there that may come and harm us.
Well, your
unknown.
childhood fear was more fantasy. Mine was extraterrestrial. Yours was more real, really. I mean,
it was stuff that could happen in the real world.
Really
Yeah.
happen,
like choking on bugs, like people watching
that just
you.
terrified me. Yeah.
Like you got some real fears, man.
No, but as I said, like we'll watch most of these again. Well, what we'll do, so we'll put them all in like a long order of like screenshots or links to the videos, and we'll see if it frightens people.
I'll
See if we've gotten past it or not.
I'll finish on one more movie.
Of course.
Just the last one.
Go for it.
Just to go back to the fantasy, The Dark Crystal.
That was the one I was trying to think of before.
There you go, The Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
There was these black crab monsters. Do you remember, like, they had like a shell and yellow eyes, and there's a scene where all these little puppet creatures. I don't remember the story.
Yeah,
But they're in a bar, like dancing and having fun, and then these like crab monsters crash through the walls. Those things.
Yeah,
oh my
that's
gosh!
right.
Like these black creatures.
That's horrifying.
They crack through the wall and
But
they
that's the
start
same thing.
kidnapping people.
As the Labyrinth and Return to Oz,
Oh.
like it's those weird,
Yeah, it's
like
just something that's like
80s.
disfigured.
yeah, like the
But-
like someone in a costume or a puppet.
Well, that's the power of it being real. Like
Yeah.
I think most of the things we've spoken about have either been
Yeah,
like
it's
real props.
It's I think what it really is when you're a kid, it's something that could harm us.
Yeah.
If that was in our room,
Yeah,
it's like Monsters Inc. Like the monsters in there could do you harm. Because Monsters Inc. wasn't a scary film; it dealt with that in a good way.
Yeah, but it's
That
so,
the monsters
so
need us for their
intrusive.
energy, but yeah.
And there's a scene, just to finish up, second
Yeah,
scene,
yeah.
Dark Crystal. They throw these like people in a pit,
Okay.
and the crab creatures like come out of the dark, and you see like, I don't think you see them getting killed, but you see them just about to get attacked, and they're like all like crying in fear. It's like PG rated. I rented that movie from Video Easy, and it scarred me for life.
Video Easy. What's that?
I don't know.
That's what the kids will all be saying.
yeah.
Okay. Well, this was actually good. We've gone.
Grandpa
We've had a great
talks about.
long discussion on this. Anything else you want to add? I think I'm done.
I think
You
I'm
and Sam.
I think I'm.
Oh, the Lake Placid, where
Oh god.
the crocodile
Oh.
comes, or alligator, what was it? Alligator
Lake
comes
Placid.
out of the water and takes the guy's head off.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember when I was little, I was just changing the channels, and I literally changed the channel straight onto that one scene. And
Oh wow! It took me
freaked
to Lake Placid in Queensland.
Oh.
I clicked maps.
So you clicked on it, and that was.
New York.
It
What?
just happened in front of me, and I was way too young to see it.
Yeah.
Lake
Okay.
Placid. I remember that film.
So
I think
it
it was
cut
a
the guy's
scary
head off.
film, but
No, it wasn't. Later on when I watched it, it wasn't. But that scared me.
Yeah, where it came in, cut the
One's-
guy's head off. Oh, that's disgusting.
one
Yeah.
scene like to,
Yeah.
to view on.
Yeah. Well, it's usually that. So, how do you think these films affected you, Sean? We'll end on this.
I think I think that's just having a look. Majority of them are extraterrestrial alien beings.
Because he got abducted.
I think.
Which you haven't gotten over.
Yeah, well,
The fear
that's
of-
that's the second thing, really. I mean, I think the one thing, just going back to like the stuff with Dragon Ball Z, X-Files, and like Around the Twist, I think it's fear of just not knowing that's going to show up. Like it's all
Yeah.
this stuff that could just like Cell coming through my window and sucking me. Like it's just it's the fear of just being in a room
Of being sucked.
and not being you're not putting yourself in this situation to get scared or in harm. Like you're not going to an alien planet.
That's right. Yeah.
Like this stuff happens to people just in their own homes. And I think
Yeah.
that's
I think that's what it is. It's someone
Yeah.
can come into our home and harm us.
yeah. Someone can just
Yeah.
crash through my window
Yeah.
and we'd all be killed.
Yeah.
Like that's my fear
Yeah,
that I
that
took
sucks.
away from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Very
scared.
good. Yeah. No, this has been interesting. Very enlightening.
Yeah.
I feel like therapy has happened. We'll have to revisit some of these things after we.
Yeah. After the
collate-
podcast, we'll crack on the TV and
Yeah.
relive it all over again. Any
Yeah.
final
Alright.
words from you guys?
No, but now I'm sufficiently frightened.
Yeah.